Good day, everyone. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Everything's going all right here. How are things going over in Barovia?
Trying to avoid the Barovian flu that's going around.
Oh, it's still plaguing people.
Still plaguing the Barovian countryside. So far, I've managed to avoid it, but we'll see.
You'll see. It's a better thing. I've heard that it hasn't been paying attention to anything like flu shots or anything like that.
That's what I hear, so yes.
Let's head into our game news, and the only real news this week is DDO Chronicle, issue 267, where on the top we have something rather dark and blue.
Do you believe that is from within Castle Ravenloft? I think.
It looks like something that could be within Castle Ravenloft.
I think that is if you're standing on the floor of the chapel looking up, I think.
Ah, okay.
Pretty sure that's where that shot's from.
I will cede to your expertise.
In the community spotlight of our Chronicle this week, Fumbles and Fame. That is an amazing name. It is a brand new Twitch channel, and they are live streaming DDO and also some D&D tabletop play as well. So click over and check out Fumbles and Fame. And DDO Kasplat is making its triumphant return. That happens on Tuesday nights over on Twitch. So click and check out the permadeath action of DDO Kasplat. We also have lots of stuff going on in the fan site news section of our Chronicle. Speaking of DDO Cast, they are continuing the review of Ravenloft with the second of 3 episodes on the Ravenloft review. So episode 502 is now up. Check that out. Once again, I am on there. So if you want to hear me yammer on about Ravenloft, there's your chance. City is capping some characters in the latest blog post. Click over to read what City has to say. And Pine Leaf got sealed in amber, apparently.
Apparently so. What, preserved to find my DNA later on or something?
Maybe. Ooh, are we going to have like Pine Leaf Park?
Pine Leaf Park.
1,000 years from now, people will find your little piece of amber and take your DNA, and we'll make little pine leaves running around and call it Pine Leaf Park. Yeah. A Very Bad Guild talks about numbers in their latest episode. Mickey is running some raids. Imagine that. Mickey running raids. That never happens. Mick Vegan Pants is getting into thrilling heroics in her latest live stream. Even Note is running some heroic, I almost said historic there, heroic Ravenloft quest in her latest Streamin' with Even stream. And A Bard's Life is questing over on Kyber. King Kaz is streaming every Saturday night on the official DDO stream. And Bakalagor is also in Ravenloft. Still lots of people running Ravenloft. And Squishy Caster, which I love that name, runs Diplomatic Immunity. And also Golden Cat is running a good quest for beginners. Click over to see which quest that is. And of course, we do have our Chronicle comment, as always. What advice do you have for a new player of the Rizia ice game?
Go to Ravenloft instead?
Somehow, I kind of figured that was going to be along the lines of your advice. That's funny. Seriously, my advice is go to the DDO store, buy ice skates. Ice skates are your friends. That is my advice for the Rizia ice games, which are coming next week, as a matter of fact. The Rizia ice games and the Midwinter Festival shall soon begin. And if you don't know what those are, check out at the forums, go on YouTube, look up videos. There is ice skating, there's ice jumping, there's all sorts of weird stuff you can do. But Rizia is coming up soon. And finally, in our Chronicle, we have our official screenshot of the week. Celsius seeks her fate from a Bastani traveler in the 350th DDO screenshot of the week. And I do believe that is from the Sunrise quest.
It looks like it could be from Sunrise.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that is where that's from, and they kind of got just the right angle. It's a really good screenshot, so good job on that. And that came from Kleber. Sent that screenshot in.
We just need some voiceovers for her.
Exactly.
Yes. Greetings from Barovia. Let's then head into our store sales this week. And is there anything exciting for sale this week?
There is some pretty good stuff. 25% off Slayer Boost. Those always come in handy. Loot Boost and Treasure Hunter Elixirs. Select shared storage. All at 25% off. And that runs through January the 25th. Our free sample of the week is a lasting potion of resist acid. Plus 10, you'll get 5 of those potions when you use the coupon code ACIDRES, ACIDRES, and that also runs through January the 25th.
Now let's see what's from the... We actually have game news this week. I mean, I'm not DDO game news, but from others. So the gaming companies are starting to wake up from their winter rest.
They are, as I was surprised as you.
Yeah, so let's see. Dungeons & Dragons character folios are now coming from Ultra Pro, and are they going to come with an Ultra price too?
Actually, no. They are manufacturer retail price on these are $9.99 each, which is not bad. This really, in all honesty, it's a Trapper Keeper that you can put your character sheets in. Let's just call it what it is. They get all fancy with it by calling it a character folio, but it's a folder that you put your character sheets in. But it has some pretty fancy looking graphics on it. They have a Dritz version, which of course features everybody's favorite drow on the cover of it. And then we have a Tomb of Annihilation version, which features everybody's favorite lich. Sarek is on there. And the Screaming Devil faces on the backside. So, yeah, it's 8.5 by 11. And it will fit 36 36 spell cards in there as well. So it fits standard character sheets, room for your spell cards. And there you go. These are coming out soon. Manufacturer's retail price, $9.99. Those are coming from Ultra Pro. And Ultra Pro is doing a lot of these type of things. So they're also making deck boxes. So if you use spell cards a lot, you can actually get little deck boxes like, you know, people would have for Magic or what have you. They're making deck boxes for cards, and they have some other stuff planned. So they're really starting to pump out the D&D accessories over at the fine folks from Ultra Pro.
All right. Good. I presume then this is mainly for sale in North America since it's 8.5 by 11.
I would assume so. Yes, with that paper size, I'm thinking their main market is in North America. You are correct.
Then let's head into what else we have is Into the Borderlands. Details are coming on the new version from Goodman Games.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about this. We knew that Goodman Games got a license from WotC to re-release Into the Borderlands. And of course, that is B1, In Search of the Unknown, and B2, The Keep on the Borderlands, if you did not know. And Goodman Games is planning on releasing this book soon, and of course this is going to be updated to 5th edition, so it's going to have 5th edition conversions for both B1 and B2, and then it also is going to include the originals B1 and B2 reprinted in this as well. It is a 368-page hardcover book. MSRP on it is going to be $49.99. So if you have been looking forward to running and are playing Keep on the Borderlands in 5th edition, and you didn't want to take the time to convert it yourself, here you go. This will be out later this summer. So once again, that is it's called Into the Borderlands, and that is a 5th edition conversion and classic reprint of B1 and B2 coming from Goodman Games.
Then let's off and see what's on the tabletops this week. And it looks like there have been a number of Kickstarters starting this week, including one that's really tiny, really epic, and really looking for brains.
That's right. Tiny Epic Zombies. Did the world need Tiny Epic Zombies? Yes, it did.
What?
And a lot of people are agreeing. 13,508 as of this recording backers are agreeing that the world needed Tiny Epic Zombies. Yeah, this came out and funded pretty much immediately. I think it was under 5 minutes when this funded. As of this recording, they have 17 days to go. They have just blown past their goal. As I said, it was less than 5 minutes. Currently, they are at 4,800. I'm sorry, let's try that again. They are at 484,038, and that is of their $15,000 goal. So if you do the math on that, that is like what, almost 32,000% of their goal, something like that. So yeah, it's crazy. And this sounds exactly what it is. If you're familiar with the Tiny Epic game series, it's Tiny Epic, and it has zombies.
With item meeples.
Yes, and that's the cool thing about it. If you watch the video, you can see your little meeples can have a little chainsaw or a little crossbow or a little shotgun. It's pretty sweet. So yes, Tiny Epic Zombies. Kickstarter, as we said, is running now. 17 more days to go to get on this. And usually Gameling Games is pretty good about fulfilling their Kickstarters. So I'm trying to see if they say October 2018. So they're saying October of this year. So I would pretty much guarantee this will come out on time because Gameling Games is really good about doing that. They know exactly how to do their Kickstarters. They haven't been late with any of them so far. So
right, and of course it has to get in October because you certainly don't want it to arrive after Halloween.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's perfect for that. So there you go. Little tiny zombies and tiny meeples and tiny chainsaws. What more do you need? How
about something electrifying? World War Tesla. Now this sounds like something up your alley. World War Tesla, seeing how you're a bit of a Tesla fan.
I am. I love Nikolai Tesla, and I think listeners know that by now as well. So yeah, I was pretty excited to see this. This one is from Fat Dragon Games, and it is called, as you said, World War Tesla. And what this is a 15 millimeter scale skirmish war game. And it's set in an alternate history where Nikolai Tesla's more radical ideas that he had, such as the death ray and the force fields, have actually came to fruition. So you can build these and use them on the battlefield. If you have the death ray, I'm pretty sure you're going to win. Just saying. Exactly. Boom, you're dead. And the cool thing about this, though, is normally when you say war game, you're thinking, oh, God, I have to buy a bunch of minis. How much is this going to cost me to buy these minis? You don't have to buy any minis for this.
What?
Exactly. What you do is you download the PDF. The PDF comes with .stl files. And for the astute among you, you realize STL files are for a 3D printer. This is a fully 3D printed game. You can print as many of the pieces out that you want. So if you want a really large army, you will 3D print a very large army. If you just want the basic set, you can print out the basic set. Everything is included in the PDF that you download. The stands for the minis themselves, and there's also some terrain and stuff that is actually included as well. And then there is some like extra add-ons you can buy if you want to print more terrain and stuff like that. But everything that you need to go is ready, and that includes 2 troop models, 3 tree models, 6 armored vehicle models, the Tesla Tower objective marker, and some dug-in markers and the trays that to keep everything in as well. So if you have a 3D printer, or you know anybody that has a 3D printer, there you go. You can print your own models out.
Okay.
Once again, this is from Fat Dragon Games, which you might recognize the name. They do a lot of other 3D terrain and dungeon tiles. That's pretty much what they're known for. This is their first foray into an actual game. And of course, since they do 3D work, they decided we're going to take it in this direction, which is kind of cool, actually.
All right. Now, my question for you is, what are the options for people who don't have access to a 3D printer at all?
You know, I sent them an email about that, and I have not heard back yet. I'm not sure. It seems like to me, from what I read about this and from the press release I got on it, the only way to play this is you have to print the stuff out. So if you don't have a 3D printer, you don't know anybody that has a 3D printer, I guess you're kind of out of luck. I know a lot of public libraries will let you rent time on a 3D printer, so that might be a possibility too. But
They do?
yeah, they do. At least around here they do.
Okay, I didn't even know public libraries had 3D printers.
I can't say all public libraries do, but I know around here there's like 2 or 3 in a couple of the bigger cities around me. Their libraries have it, and you rent time on them to print stuff, so that might be a possibility. There's also like maker clubs and stuff that I'm sure you could print it out. But yeah, I don't know if Fat Dragon Games ever plan on, like printing these out and selling them already printed. From what the press release, said, and from what I've been reading online, it sounds like no, they're just giving you the option that you can print what you want. But I just so happen to have a friend that has a 3D printer, so. And if you're listening to the show, I got some prints in your just saying. Make sure you have plenty of filament. I have a job for you. Just saying.
Then let's head into our week in gaming, and other than trying to find filament for World War Tesla, what have you been up to?
I played some DDO, played with you. I'll let you talk about that. Also played DDO with the Damsels on their bi-weekly playover on the official DDO stream channel. And, I mentioned this on their show, and then I was on their podcast as well, and I mentioned this. We're what? This is our 163rd episode of the show now. You would think by now I would learn that when I say I dislike something or I'm not a big fan of that, the Damsels are going to make me do it. You would think I've learned that by now.
I was wondering why you did what I saw there. I said, huh?
Yeah, me and my big mouth got me into it again. So I get this message, and they're like, hey, you want to come on the show? And I'm like, sure. And they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to run Reaper. And I'm like, what? We're going to do what now? They're like, well, you said on your show you didn't like Reaper. And I'm like, me and my big mouth, here we go again. So yeah, so I ran Reaper with the Damsels. But before we did that, we did the Chronoscope raid on Elite. That was pretty fun. That was actually my first time running that raid, believe it or not. I've never ran the Chronoscope before. So did that, and then we went over to House of Deneth, and we started on the Sentinels of Stormreach. So we did Bargain of Blood and the Black Lock, did those all on Reaper's Skull 2. It was interesting. I actually didn't die as many times as I thought I was going to die, so I'm kind of impressed with myself there that I actually didn't manage to. I think I died maybe once, twice maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the video, I don't know if it's up yet or not, but you should be able to go on the official DDO YouTube channel and watch the video. It should be up by now. I'll link it in the show notes if it is, and see. But I can only remember dying a couple times. Reaper is not that bad. As I told them, I think I would only do Reaper with like friends like that I'm used to playing with, because you really have to do good teamwork, especially when those Reapers come out. But overall, it was okay, not bad. I didn't dislike it. I didn't really hate it. I mean, I actually had fun, so I guess there's that. But note to self, do not ever say you don't like anything on the show anymore. because it will come back and bite you every single time. And the only other thing I did was, of course, 7 Days to Die. We're still doing our semi-ish permadeath. We're really kind of not doing permadeath anymore. We allow 2 deaths a night, and then you have to log out like I talked about. So I guess we really can't call it permadeath anymore. But anyway, it's just started out as a permadeath challenge, and now kind of morphed into this, whatever it is now. We survived our first horde night, and we are getting ready to do our second horde night, which, of course, is on day 14, because you get hordes every single time. And the 7-day and the 14-day horde are not bad. It's the 21-day horde. That's when it starts getting nasty, because that's when you start getting like special zombies. So we'll see how it goes. But so far, we're all alive, and we've all managed to survive. Poor Rent is still all by himself. He never did find any of us, so he's out there in the apocalypse all by himself.
He's being Rent.
He is. And then only other thing I did in 7 Days to Die, and then that game, I got kidnapped by Lessa.
What?
I did. And it started out very innocently. She wanted to... There are traders that you can go to, and you have to have... they're like casino chips. They're like the currency that you use. They're called Dukes because they're from Duke's Casino. That's the money in the game. And she wanted to buy a chainsaw from the trader, but she didn't have enough Dukes. So she's like, let's go out and raid this town and just loot everything we can loot, and we'll see if I have enough to sell back to the trader that, I'll get enough Dukes to buy my chainsaw. And I'm like, cool, let's go, because I like raiding places. And so we're raiding and killing all stuff, and then we notice it's getting kind of dark, and we're pretty far away from our base, but she had started before she had found any of us, she had started to build a little house for herself and a little base for herself. And she's like, well, my house that I built is not that far away. So, and it's pretty safe. So we can stay there tonight, because at night the zombies run, and it's a lot harder at night than it is during the day. So I'm like, cool. So let's do that. So we went, and I was doing some crafting, and she was working on, building up her house, and daytime came, and I'm like, cool, it's daytime now. I'm going to go back because I have to make some medical supplies, because I'm the medic for our group. And I said, I have to go back to the main base and make some medical supplies and stuff that we're going to need. And she's like, okay. So I go out the door, and the door's locked. I can't open the door. And I'm like, Lessa, can you let me out? And she's like, oh yeah, forgot about that. So therefore, I was being held against my will all night, and I did not know it until the daytime. So that's why I said I was kidnapped by Lessa.
That was weird.
Yeah. It was just so funny. I go to open the door, and it's like locked, and I'm like, I can't get out of your house. I'm stuck in your house.
Right.
Oh, why? So that was my week. How about your week, Punleaf? What were you up to?
We will then begin with my awesomer favored soul, where I went into the steam tunnels and finished that up by doing the Clopen's Jaw Scourge during the blockade, the Caverns of Shock, where I reached level 5, then went to the halls of Chanticleer. So I reached level 5 on that character. So I'm going at a decent pace on there, because I think I said I wanted to get an Aasimar up to level 15 by the end of the year. It looks like I'm going, and I'm already at level 5 before the end of January.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're like flying through that challenge you set for yourself.
Certainly a lot easier than level 20 on that monk slash.
Well, yeah.
Then on my Halfling Paladin that I'm using for the YouTube series, in the Mists of Ravenloft, I had finished the first 2 areas, so of course I wanted to reach the level 12 in order to go to the 3rd area. So in Ravenloft, I repeated Death House, since that's always a nice, fun little one to do. Then it was the Wednesday night with Drac, and I decided, well, if I'm wanting to level up my Paladin, and we hadn't quite decided what to do yet, well, then I'll just take this character along, and we went out into the sands, where we did the Desert Cavern, which is something that I forgot to do when I went out to the sands before. And I think that's actually where I might have hit level 12. I think Or did we do it? We did the Chamber of Korush. I can't remember which one we did, but we did get eventually to level 12. So
when
that
we finished Desert Caravan, you were like, oh, hey, I leveled.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I think we went and did the Chamber of Korush anyway, and then I actually took the level when maybe afterwards.
Yeah, you held it.
So therefore, we had that nice, fun little bit there. Then we went to the house Jarasco, where we ran the Enemy Within.
I haven't done that quest forever.
Yeah, so it's remembering where the quest giver is on that one. The one I always find, the level 12 quest that I always find in there is the one that I said, do I really want to do this quest? No, this is a pain. So it's good that you reminded me about the Enemy Within. So we did that one to finish off our evening there. Then with that being level 12 now, then I headed back to the Mists of Ravenloft for some solo stuff where I recorded my final bit of the series on there. I went in, ran the final vintage, checked out my recording, and I apparently had the wrong scene selected or something like this, so none of that got recorded.
Nope.
Therefore, I ran it again, and that time it was recorded successfully. Then after running the final vintage, I ran Wrath of the Earth, which was fairly straightforward. Then Raven's Bane, and with Raven's Bane is trying to remember, all right, so am I finding all the ravens or not? There's always a little doubt there. Okay, did I find all the ravens? Well, I did find all the ravens, but I always have this little seated doubt. How many ravens are there supposed to be that you're supposed to find? And there was a time around here where I had this little closer look, trying to look at Baba Lysaga's hut. And I'm wondering if the idea of having Baba Lysaga's hut standing on these tree roots was inspired by the horns from Lotro.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this because I saw a video of someone doing the early parts of the Baba Lysaga hut just to see what that fight looked like. And yeah, I said it looked like a horn going around. At first I thought it was a horn until the camera angle changed. I was able to see that. No, that was the hut walking around.
Well, I can see you knew that the hut walked, right?
Well, I know that I was assuming that the hut would walk because Baba Laga's hut walks. And Baba Lysaga seems to be pretty much taken from Baba Laga.
Right, yeah. And I'm going to say in the original Ravenloft module, her hut walks too because it actually attacks you several times.
Okay. Yeah, though I don't know what the Ravenloft modules depict the legs of the hut being like. Because as I said, this look like tree roots that are being done here.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of looks like in most of the depictions in all the Ravenloft versions. Is it's kind of like a walking tree almost.
All right. So it does come pretty much from the modules then. It's interesting how the evolution of the huts walk because you have the tree root-like type in Baba Lysaga, Baba Yaga in many of the depictions in the other DDO plays seems to be on stilts or something like that, or is the impression, I don't know what the most part, but I was reading the Elder Wizardry version, and it was, but of course the original version of the legs of the hut from the fairy tales is on chicken legs. So it was interesting how this evolved in there and going into the D&D version of it. Then after Raven's Bane, I did Sunrise. I went to the Abbey and found the Sun Sword and all that fun stuff. And I found it interesting how this time I found the key, because last time when I did it with you, we found the Sun Sword right away.
Yeah, which has never happened as many times as I've ran that quest. I've never found it as early as we've found it.
Right, and we took forever in order to find the key in order to get into the Abbey. This time, I found the key right away.
Oh, is that right?
And the Sun Sword was in the basement, so it took me forever to get the Sun Sword. But of course, you had to go that way in order to go to the other place anyway. So therefore, right. I got that all done. Then in Minecraft, I built the Fire Temple because I had done the Temple of Water a week or two ago. This week I did the Fire Temple, and you definitely can't mistake it for anything other than a fire temple.
One would probably think not. Let me guess. Spoiler alert, there's lots of fire.
Oh, yeah, that's the fire. Therefore, that's all over the place. And, in fact, I posted part 1 of that video last night, and tonight I'll be posting the second part of that video. So, therefore, so you can see what I did in order to build the temple for that. Then in tabletop, I continue with Aeon's End, Eternal War, where I finally won a solo game. We're going against Rageborn, which is the monthly challenge that I'm working on that. So therefore, Rageborn has been defeated. I might play a couple more times later on in the month just to see if I can improve my score on there. But right now, at least I won at least one of them. Then I played Friday at level 3, which I won. Then in Twin Stars, I played Escape the Brig, and the dice were extremely friendly in that playthrough. Twin Stars is sometimes very hard to get friendly dice rolls, but in that case, they're ultra friendly on that. And the guards almost never moved, and I got out way early on that one. Then I played Hoplomachus Origins, where I started a new challenge series and completed the first tier of that challenge. And then finally, I played a new game. It's a video card game called Slay the Spire, which is a roguelike deck builder.
Okay.
I know that
those two things don't really go together, but okay.
Yes. Yeah, well, they actually managed to fit pretty well, because what you have is that you go through, as the name implies, you're climbing through a very extremely tall spire, and on each level that you climb on the spire, you face some sort of encounter. Sometimes it's a monster encounter, sometimes it's a merchant, sometimes it's a rest place, sometimes it's a special event or whatever. And as you progress through there, you could, of course, take its RPG-like qualities to it, so therefore you could take damage and all that fun stuff. But whenever you're in combat, you have this deck of cards, which starts out as a pretty pathetic deck, of course, at the beginning, because you know how things go in deck builders. Start out with a relatively poor deck, and you try to build it up. And you use this deck, your current deck, all the way through that combat. When you finish the combat, you get combat rewards, and one of them is to add another card into your deck. So you can start building up your deck, and some of the special events you're also able to get rid of some of the older cards that you don't want anymore. So, of course, you try to improve it as you go along, and then you go up the spires, and the monsters get tougher and tougher, and when you reach the top, you, of course, face a boss, randomly selected, of course. Then after you defeat the boss, of course, you go into the next act, which means you climb another section of the spire. And you keep on doing this until inevitably you get killed. I don't know if it's possible to have an endpoint or anything like that, but so far I've gotten about 2.5 acts through before getting killed. It's the best that I've done on that. So therefore, that is Slay the Spire. This is a new game on Steam. It is currently in early access. And hopefully I'll get a little bit more information, play a little bit more time. Maybe I can get a review up on it. That would, I know me, see if I can actually remember to do a review for a change.
Hey, there you go.
We currently have 19 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to support DDO Players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast your choice, or you can be a guest with us for an episode of DDO Players News. And this week we do not have any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at the Players Alliance, at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows every week, every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Local Players News. And you can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.